pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty. Thank you. Public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment? No one's here for,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Did you?
Yes, please come up here, your name and your address. And the microphone, there's a button on the top. Unless you have a. Oh, it's
Okay,
on.
so my name's Nick Francona. I live at 55 Redgate Lane. I've lived with my wife and we have two kids, and we've been there about 5 years. This is actually the first town meeting I've attended. I have been given the issues on the horizon. I had my wife and I recognized we needed to pay a little more attention to what's going on, and just through that process, frankly, has been a little bit alarming. We started from the perspective of, okay, let's try to gather some information and so we can make informed decisions as these votes are coming up. And that process itself has been extraordinarily difficult. We don't feel like we are really equipped to make educated and informed decisions. And that's a problem. And that's a tough position to be in as a resident of the town. We've like, if you, I couldn't tell you right now whether, like, take the public safety issue, whether I couldn't tell you whether that, like, the importance of the underlying foundations for the impetus for that move and justification for it, because that information it either doesn't exist or it hasn't been communicated in a clear and effective way. And what has happened is frankly a lot of, like, propaganda, and it's a little bit offensive, to be honest, where that I expect better from the town government, and we're not getting that as residents. And I hope that changes, because if that project is as important as some people say it is, then you've blown a lot of credibility with the town and the residents right now. This is like, if it is important, we need new people to do it, because there's no credibility left right now. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Chu. I'm at 25 Virginia Lane, and I've lived here for 10 years. And I know David from when he was running the Boy Scouts. And I would like to first and foremost thank all of you guys as citizens for participating in this. It is undoubtedly a thankless job. This is my first such a event to come here. And very much like Nick indicated, the impetus for me coming here is I'm seeing some alarming issues in how our town budget is being managed, and how what's happening with the town and what you'd like to see happen with the town is being communicated out into the community. So I'm going to start by saying that I actually am a contractor to the federal government. I do understand that things change, and I do understand that budgets change, and I understand that projects can change. It is, to Nick's point, extremely offensive to hear that any of you would accept a $17 million increase on a $10 million project and think that that is something that is appropriate to bring in front of the town. I strongly support the police. I have had the most wonderful experiences with the public safety officers, and I've needed them, having in the 10 years I've been here. So I'm very supportive of getting them into a facility that is going to accommodate their needs. We're going to need to do it most likely with different contractors, and we're going to need to do it on a scaled back fashion. We don't need to prepare to be a town of 25,000 people. If we're 9,000 people today, let's prepare for 10 or 12. let's utilize the buildings that we have to the ability that, to the extent we can. And let's focus on getting them the things that they need, not the things they want all the time, but the things that they need so that they can effectively do their jobs. And what I've heard over the past several weeks and months is that we have a lot of people within this community that have skill sets that can help all of you and the town make strong decisions, and that their support is not welcomed and not appreciated. So I'm sure, as I'm sitting in front of all of you, that that's not the way you want them to feel. That is the reality of how they feel. So I would urge you all to welcome them into the conversation and let them use their skills and knowledge to help you guys all make informed and better decisions. It's very clear that as residents, you all are going to benefit or be adversely impacted by the decisions that are made here. So it's in everyone's best interest that we do work together. And if people have not been showing up, as I assume they have not for many years, but they're ready to engage now, then that's a good thing, and it should be embraced. I have an issue with the fact that kindergarten was approved for full-day kindergarten, and then parents were told essentially at the last minute, oops, we forgot to budget for that. That's really, really poor planning and poor governance, and it's unfair to the people in the community that were left with that burden. So it's been voted on. You guys need to take care of that. And we also need to look at a new town hall, because it's not great that our administrators are in the environment they are in now. But in the same way that we have to look at the police station, we have to look at doing that in a way that's economically reasonable and feasible for a small community. We're not Boston. We don't spend like Boston, and we shouldn't spend like Boston. So I just urge you all to take the resources and the feedback that is available and to go back to the drawing board and make some decisions that are going to be in the best interest of the community that lives here, and that are going to entice other people to continue to want to live here as they do right now. So thank you all for your time.
Okay, is there anyone else? Is there anyone online? No? Okay. All right, so first up on the agenda is a letter of support for Halter Service Regional Representative to the MPO, which is the regional coalition. It's Hull and the South Shore Coalition. Hull has in the past been our representative, and the chair of the Hull Select Board, Erwin Neshoff, has asked for us to take a vote to support his position as the representative to the MPO. Does anyone have any questions? It's the Metropolitan Planning Organization. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay. So may I have a motion to approve Erwin Neshoff as our South Shore Coalition representative to the MPO?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Okay, next up is the South Shore Community Center Nursery School Halloween Stroll. This is a longstanding event. I don't believe Chief is going to be online, but the application is pretty functional. That we're doing it for, I'm going to say, almost 30 years. We had the information in our packet. Does anyone have any questions on it? Nope. Okay, so we're going to have two motions, one for the event, one for an entertainment license. I have a motion to approve the South Shore Community Center Nursery School Halloween Stroll on Sunday, October 19th, 2025 from 2 to 4 p.m.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. May I have a motion to approve an entertainment license for above said event?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next up, Mr. Senior, is the first transfer, that's not a public hearing, is it? Oh, that is, all right, that, So we have to open a public hearing for, transfer of license. So the Cohasset Select Board, acting as a local licensing authority, will hold a public hearing today, Tuesday, September 30th, 2025 at 91 Sawyer Street, Wilcott Commons, to consider the transfer of the Chapter 12 General On-Premise Annual All Alcohol License from RBLB Inc., DBA Lenny's Hideaway, to Just Add Water LLC, DBA Captain's Hideaway, located at Stagecoach Way, Cohasset, Mass. Proposed manager is Jill Solomini. Premises include the entire 2,953 square foot on the second floor with main dining room, 2 restrooms, kitchen, and a bar, exit at front and back. 560 square feet on the second floor, outdoor seating area off the dining room with 2 doors. Building seating capacity is 102. Transferee also requests to include a 13 by 68-foot main entrance exit on the first floor, including vestibule and storage. I have a motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Do we have anyone from?
I'm Jill.
Okay, please come up.
My attorney's supposed to be here too. I don't know if he's here yet. I don't see him, so.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, so why don't you just,
Well, you better cut that off. Oh,
I'm like, I think he said he was gonna be here by 7:15, so.
yeah, we're going
Okay.
a little fast. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and,
Oh, okay. I live in Situate.
I'm sorry, full name and address.
Oh, Jill Solomini, 42 Brook Street, Situate, Mass.
Okay.
I live in Situate now. Prior to moving to Situate, I lived in Hingham. I raised my 3 daughters there. Most of my relative experience with the restaurant business is basically managing floating restaurants. My great uncle started Boston Harbor Cruises in 1926.
Oh.
And I worked there for many, many years running dinner cruises, luncheon cruises, private charters, you name it, from food service, bars. So that's, is there particular questions you want to ask me or?
No, so, well, floating restaurants, this obviously is not floating. no.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know how to explain
Yeah, okay,
what I did,
Okay.
but there were basically restaurants on the water.
okay,
So I was trying to think of a good
Oh.
word that would describe it.
okay, okay,
But many, many events, private charters. We did have a bar on Long Wharf also. So, and I was a manager there.
okay. And as manager, you have to be on site 40
Yes.
40 hours.
Oh, yes, I plan to be there.
Okay,
I've done my tip certification. I've, very familiar with the business that I'm purchasing.
okay.
Yeah.
Will you be needing to do renovations or will you just?
No, we're pretty much keeping everything the same. I
Okay.
have a few, decor changes, things like that, but we're not really changing anything. I know my attorney was going to address the first floor area. For some reason it came through with the licensing, but we're not looking to license the outdoor patio area.
Okay,
Okay. I know he'll probably explain that in greater detail. I think they had some outside dining during COVID,
yes,
so that is not included. It's just the upstairs area.
just
and the
the
patio.
upstairs outside.
Yes.
Okay, so,
So
okay,
there's nothing like on Stagecoach Way.
okay. Says, transferee also requests to include a 13 by 68-foot main entrance exit on the first floor, including vestibule and storage space. So it doesn't, your application doesn't indicate outside first floor.
Yes, no outside first
Okay.
floor.
Okay,
Just the second story, the outside seating area, if you're familiar with it. Yeah. Okay.
does anyone have any questions? Parag, any questions? No? Okay. So, may I have a motion to approve the transfer of the all alcohol annual on-premise license from RBLB Inc., DBA Lenny's Hideaway, to Just Add Water LLC, DBA Captain's Hideaway, and the manager is, so sorry, Jill Solomini.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Can I have a motion to close this Tracy, do I need the public hearing for,
So can you also just approve the comment of the license?
okay,
And yes, close the public hearing.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the common victualers license for Just Add Water LLC?
So moved.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And then the next one, Tracy, that's not a public hearing, correct? Okay, so may I have a motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. Thank you. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much.
Best of luck. Okay, next up, is a change in the common victualler license for, Thurman LLC DBA Hook Pizza at 13 Depot Court. This is presently, yes,
Yeah, just fine. So it's Real Pizza.
okay,
They rebranded and they're opening as a new restaurant, which is Hook Pizza. So they just need a common victular change, because the name is changing.
okay. Oh, so the name is not changing.
The name is changing.
Oh, the name is changing to Hook, Hook, okay. Okay,
The pizza better not be changing.
It's the same, he said, in Adam's house.
okay. So can I have a motion to approve a common victualler license for Thurman LLC DBA Hook Pizza at Hook Pizza Company at 13 Depot Street?
So moved.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Closes that. All right, next up, board committee appointments. So we have a few people that have applied, and we thank them for it, to existing boards and committees. So Mr. Gene Peschke has applied for the Affordable Housing Trust, which we have 3 openings. So this is a full membership. So we'll leave 2 openings on it. I had the privilege to interview him during a Troika appointment for capital budget, and very, very nice, very knowledgeable. He's been in town for a very long time and he's retired and wants to get involved in town government. Does anyone have any questions? Are you guys okay appointing him?
Yep.
Okay,
View the paper.
okay, so can I have a motion to approve Mr. Gene Peschke to the Affordable Housing Trust?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next up is an appointment, a reappointment of Nicole Roth to the Community Television Commission. And we have 7 openings, and this is a reappointment. This will leave 6 openings. So if anyone's interested in Cohasset Community Television, we're looking for membership. Her packet was also, her application was also in our packet. It is a reappointment. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
No? Okay. Can I have a motion to reappoint Nicole Roth to the Community Television?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next up is Cohasset Village Historic District Study Committee. Is Mr. McGregor online?
I am here, but I'm unsure. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I have my camera on too. I'm not sure if you can see me.
Not yet.
No, we can't see you.
I'm not that good looking anyway.
Okay, Mr. McGregor, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself? I mean, we did get your application and why you want to be on the Cohasset Village Historic District Study Committee.
Yeah, again, Doug McGregor. I do live at 7 Border Street. I've been in town about 8 years, so I consider myself a newcomer. I am passionate about the harbor, and I am passionate very much about the village. Not only because I'm one of the owners of Salty Days downtown and also a supporter financially of Seabird Coffee, but I'm very passionate about the character of our village. That's a personal thing, less than a business thing. My background is that I have been doing construction and development most of my life. I'm 52 years old. I am retired from that. I did win Newton's Historic Preservation Award although that was more than a couple decades ago, but I used to do historic preservation work, basically saving historic structures, single family, multifamily in Newton, Brookline, in the city. So that's my work experience. I do have sort of a varied experience, having been on both sides of historic committees. I usually, well, I've only sat in the audience or as an applicant coming in front. I guess what brought me here today, people were aware of my interest at when the gas station project came up and was proposed in various iterations. It made me realize personally that we didn't have many protections or any for the character of the village. And I thought that was a shame. So I was honored or flattered to be invited into that conversation. And I'd be delighted to be part of the group that's exploring what the options are to protect the village.
Great, thank you. Does anyone on the board have any questions?
I just have a
Mr. Farrar?
quick comment. As you know, this committee's very important in that we don't have in the village some of the bylaws that oversee it like we do on the, say, the common. And other towns do, such as Hingham, which is right next to us. So I've been a big proponent of this committee and their work that they're doing to try and create some of the guidelines and structure to protect the village and to ensure the town's character goes forward. So I think it'll be a great candidate, and I can't wait to see their work as it goes on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McGregor. So may I have a motion to appoint Mr. McGregor to the Cohasset Village Historic District Study Committee?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mr. McGregor, and thank you for volunteering.
Yep, thank you for all you do. Have a good night.
Thanks. So next up, Community Preservation Committee, Sanji Fernando as the Conservation Commission rep. Is Mr. Fernando here or online? No. So this is just a representative from the Conservation Committee to the Community Preservation Committee. Does anyone have any comments or questions?
Just said, I'm the representative from the Select Board and the Community Preservation Committee, and this just fills that vacancy from Concom, so all in favor of it.
Okay, so would you like to make that motion then?
Sure, I make a motion that we approve Sanjay Fernando as the Concom rep to the Community Preservation Committee.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So thank you to the four applicants tonight. Just a quick recap of where we are in the balance of our committees. Affordable Housing Steering Committee, we still have one citizen at large opening. Cohasset Affordable Housing Trust, we have two openings. Cohasset Common Historic District Commission, we have two openings. Cohasset Harbor Committee, we have two openings, preferably for fishermen. Cohasset Community Television, 6 openings. Cohasset Cultural Council, 2 openings. Cohasset Village, we just finished that. Cohasset Preservation Committee, 1 open from Concom. We just did that one. Conservation Commission, 3 openings, and Post-Employment Benefit Committee, 1 opening. So if any of those have any interest to anyone listening in the community, we would certainly appreciate you reaching out and letting us know. Okay, next up, FY27 budget message.
Aye.
We right on time? Okay, so in your packets, Ms. Rollins and I kind of went through, based off our last conversation, our budget message, and we revamped the first page to a more overall general tenor of our budget message as a select board, which could perhaps be posted on our Cohasset Select Board page, as most of this is kind of tweaked and updated year to year, but it doesn't change an awful lot. So then the second page is actually our FY27 budget message. Does anyone have any questions on it? Okay. Okay. So may I have a motion So, and this budget message will be posted on the Cohasset Select Board page on the Town of Cohasset Government page. So as soon as we approve it tonight, it will no longer be a draft and will be approved. So can I have a motion to approve the FY 27 budget message as written?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And so the next step after this is, Mr. Senior and I are kind of working on a very comprehensive review of our budget. And we're going to include some appropriate benchmarking and pertinent metrics to take a look. I've already done a pretty deep dive at our budget over the last, well, since 2020, and seen trends in certain departments and other trends and not, and we'll be presenting within the next couple of meetings before special town meeting, what we come up with and how our message will shape our FY 27 budget. Okay, Elm Street update. So, Ms. Leary, okay,
So last week, we had the opportunity to speak of the whole public safety building, 135 King Street. Something we failed to discuss was the plan for 62 Elm Street.
come on up, Chief Dockeray.
So we worked on a design for 62 Elm Street, and also incorporated some town offices. We got an estimate based on our schematic design, and the estimate came in at $7.7 million. We took a hard look at that, and knowing that we were just going to do a renovation to the building, we phased it similar to what we did with Town Hall to see if there were any cost savings. We took the estimate from schematic design. Chief and I reviewed it together, and we went through and we pulled out the components that were must-haves and immediate needs. And we came up with a proposal and brought it down to $4.2 million. We phased this project over several years, over a 5-year period of time, and it's not scheduled to start until 2028. And that would be when the public safety building on 135 King Street, if approved, is complete. So that's how it would phase. Things that are in this are HVAC, electrical equipment, fire protection, important mechanicals. There's some demo in here, some ADA upgrades that are necessary. And it's allowing the fire department the additional space that they need in 62 Elm Street.
Great, thank you. Thanks for joining us, Chief.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, this would be, Elm Street is a tough building for us to work in right now. One of our biggest issues in the fire service is cancer. And right now, we don't have the proper areas to decon coming back from either a fire scene, a medical scene, or a hazmat scene. We store our gear on the apparatus floor. That doesn't help cancer prevention. We have do our laundry in a basement that has seen 2 major sewer backups in it, and wasn't our fault. It was a pipe that comes alongside the building that backed up into the station. And so the basement isn't really the best place for us to do any decon, to do laundry. We also used to keep our EMS supplies in there. OEMS cited us. We had to build a temporary closet like ASAP because of the sewer backups in the basement. So this would help us in moving forward with our cancer prevention. If 135 gets built out, we take over the police side and we can build proper decon areas, storage areas for the on-duty crews. And for any in the off-duty firefighters that come back for callback, because we do a lot of callback too, when they go on calls and if they get contaminated. So this would be a big step in helping our cancer prevention programs that we've already started with the building. So.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Mr. Grady?
Very self-explanatory, Chief. Thank you.
Mr. Farag?
If you could just go over, because you said quickly, the other town departments that would be moving into the Elm Street. So it's not just the fire. What are those?
we're citing, the IT department to move over there. There's not sufficient space at town hall. And Safe Harbor is currently housed in the attic of the library. It's not accessible. So we're looking for town space for them to relocate. So we're assuming, upwards of about 1,500, 1,700 square feet will be allocated to those two departments from that.
And we'll also be able to share some space because one of the things we're gonna put in a conference slash like training room that we'll probably use in the daytime, and then when Safe Harbor comes in at night, they can use it. So will be a joint space for them.
You do training now.
We do it in the kitchen slash day room, and there's not enough room. There's not enough room.
And how many staff would you have in a typical training? Is it by shift or do you like,
It's by shift, be 4 to 6 could be on duty. And then we do a monthly Con Ed, EMS Con Ed, where off-duty members can come back for that. So we could have 10 or 12 guys. And it's just too crowded and someone's trying to make a cup of coffee or wash a dish. It doesn't work. Doesn't work.
off the top of your head, when and what was like the last kind of maintenance that was done on that building?
So the last major maintenance was probably the 2003, when we did the addition for the new ladder truck and the addition of the dorm space for females, because we had 3 females on the department at that time. And there was no space for them. So we put on a dormitory and locker room for female and bathroom for females. And then we also had extend the building 8 feet and raise the roof line another 4 feet for the new ladder truck that came in 2004. And then we have the daily maintenance. The facilities will take care of it. We have a clogged pipe. They come and take care of that and stuff like that. But anything major was done in 2003.
Like,
Go ahead.
so the original estimate, 7.7, goes down to 4.2, and then you're gonna spread over 5 years from 2028 on. So, in what part of the budget would that be coming up? Would that be capital budget, free cash? What would be the idea to,
Fit it within the capital budget plan.
and even with some of the, I saw the punch list of what would be done, but even with that, would that be done by town hall staff, or would they be contracting out or overseeing, or what would be the
Everything on this list would be contracted out. The town hall staff could do some ancillary items, but in order to get it done efficiently.
It's pretty much the same model we have for town hall right now,
yeah.
right? Okay, Mr. Grady?
Staff increase since 1962.
So since 1962, there was 14 full-time firefighters that operate out of 3 stations. Right now, once we're fully staffed and fill 2 vacancies, we'll be 24 line firefighters and then 2 administrative, myself and the assistant fire chief. So there's 26 of us operating out of that one building once we're fully staffed.
The last infrastructural change was what year?
2003.
I was just looking at the costs over it. And so since 1962, we've contributed about 1.8 million to all the infrastructural needs for that building, for our police and fire.
Yeah, there was also a renovation that was done in late 80s, early 90s, prior to my hire, that did some reconfiguration of the building. I don't know what the cost was then. Again, it was before my time, but I know the 2003 one.
No, I know a total of what
Yeah.
town's been is $1.8 million over 62 years.
Yeah.
That's, and can you explain just the cancer prevention? And also, since you guys are on the road every day, be it down to Evoke or anywhere else, or fire, or God forbid someone's hurt. Just explain what happens. They have to suit up. And-
Yeah. So part of our cancer prevention is that we go into hazardous environments, whether it be smoke filled or hazmat, or we also could deal at a medical situation where there's bodily fluids, other contaminants. So the crews have to come back and decontaminate, especially after a fire. We need to wash our gear and we also need to wash ourselves. Need to take showers and wash the gears and so forth. And that starts part of the cancer prevention. Also, we shouldn't have gear stored on apparatus floor where there's diesel equipment. Because even though we do have exhausters on the trucks, there's still remnants of some diesel particles on the floor. So we shouldn't be keeping our gear where particles, after we just cleaned it, we shouldn't be getting it dirty right away, sorting it back in a dirty environment. Part of the cancer prevention is also, they call it hot spaces, warm spaces and cold spaces. So the hot space is the apparatus floor. The cold spaces are any hallways that are in between the apparatus floor and the living areas. And then the living areas are the cold spaces. So that's how we try to keep cancer prevention. Okay. We go to different medicals all the time. I can't really speak to any particular one, but you know, in 2020, we had the coronavirus. So if we had someone who was known to be with the virus, that crew would come back from the hospital. They were out of service. The ambulance was out of service. They had to be decontaminated and they had to be washed down. The ambulance was washed down at the hospital, but then when it came back, it got sterilized because we had some sterilized guns that we used to sterilize the interior compartment of the ambulance. But, you know, there's so many, there's talk about, there could be Ebola coming back again. You know, so that's the things that we watch, other viruses that you just don't know, but there's been talk of Ebola. And I remember that was that was before Corona, and that was a big nightmare because once it comes to the United States, everyone's on alert. You know, everyone just fears that because it gets publicized too much. So,
Question. 135 King, then we started on Elm Street. Now, would you be running a lot more staffing out of the annex?
no, right now, the substation will be staffed by 2 individuals, 2 firefighter paramedics, 24/7 would operate out of there. The remaining staff would operate out of Elm Street.
While we're doing construction?
They do, yeah. There could be days where we may have to leave Elm Street, then we'd go up to the annex, depending on the weather conditions, because we have 500 gallons of water. In the wintertime, we can't be outside with that. We have diesel equipment, doesn't like the cold weather. They can't be outside, so it depends on the time of year, if we could move up to King Street for the day while they're rehabbing Elm Street.
But we have a secondary ambulance or the primary at,
The primary would be running out of King Street.
I know we did the runtime test.
Mhm.
But say, what are the advantages of getting to schools or getting to the Beechwood section, North Cohasset?
Drastic improvement, especially,
Oak?
yeah.
I understand there's a lot of calls going down there. We have Sunrise now that
Yep.
wasn't there when we built the building, obviously, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we get to the Osgood and Deer Hill campus a lot quicker because we're right around the corner. We'd have a quicker, we'd improve our response times to the, high school because we're on the other side of the tracks. The school's on the other side of the tracks. So we definitely improve our response times to any emergency on the other side of the tracks because we have apparatus on the other side of the tracks. I know when I leave the fire station at night, heading home to the hillside, if I hit the crossing at Pleasant Street, it's a 2-minute wait. No buts about it. Same thing coming to work in the morning. If I'm on my way to work and the gate goes down to Pleasant Street, it's a 2-minute wait. And then we can't really say, all right, let's turn around and go to the Pond Street crossing because that gate's gonna be coming down. So we've got to wait it out. There's no way around it, especially if we're trying to respond to the hillside. Or up into 3A and Pond Street, all that area, the hillside neighborhood, the Veterans Lot neighborhood. We are hindered by the train crossing.
One more question, and thank you so much, but we had the secondary ambulance activated, but you know, today, if that, the ambulance we're using now, the Elm Street ambulance is in use, is that an emergency, at a fire, or it's, you know, taking care of that someone's hurt? And you get a call, and again, we're open say across town someplace. What do we do? We call out of town for assistance or do we?
Yeah, so right now, we rely on mutual aid for ambulances for a second call. Depending on our staffing model for the 24-hour period shift. If we have 6 members on duty and a second EMS call came on and we had the ambulance under our roof, we could probably staff it and respond. Sometimes we start the shift at 4. An incident will come in, the 4 members will be tied up. We do a callback system. But we still have to wait for those individuals to come back to the station. We have individuals that, a couple live in Hull. We have individuals that live in Hanson, Halifax, Weymouth, that take a good 25, 30 minutes, 40 minutes to get back. So it's all based on our staffing, what's available, who's in the station, if we can support running the second ambulance. But if a staffing of 6 members are on duty, we have a really good chance to staff that second ambulance for a second medical that comes in while the primary ambulance is tied up.
Well, what I'm getting at is, so the first ambulance that the active ambulance is engaged.
Mhm.
All right, and then someone, again, God forbid, has a heart attack or some medical emergency over in Beechwood.
Right.
And so what do we do? So so you call Situate. How long is that runtime? I don't think we took that into account.
We haven't taken our mutual aid partners into account, their response times to our communities.
So for instance, if we had that, what would you, just I'm asking you to do some guesswork.
It's
So
about 10 to 12 minutes.
All right.
I will tell you, we've had 2 incidents in town where the nearest ambulance was from Marshfield. We had myself and Assistant Chief Hernan, we responded to medical up at the Preserve one day because everyone else was tied up. The nearest ambulance came from Marshfield. And this past summer, there was a medical up in North Cohasset on Jerusalem Road. Again, the nearest ambulance, Marshfield. So it's a response.
Out of the 24 line firefighters, how many are paramedics?
All of them,
All of them?
Yep.
And so,
including myself and the Assistant Chief.
so the
all
whole
paramedics.
department is paramedics. Okay.
Correct.
And so what is the service that the paramedics are able to provide instead of just a regular line firefighter?
So
What's not a paramedic?
we can provide advanced life support. We can start IVs, we can administer medications, we can put you on a cardiac monitor, determine what your cardiac rhythm is, and if we need, we can treat that. If you're not breathing, we have the ability to insert tubes in your airway to assist in ventilations. We can also do cardiac shocks. And we also have the ability to get on the phone with medical control at South Shore Hospital and ask for directions and ask for additional things that we need to do above and beyond the protocols to treat severely ill individuals.
Well, it sounds like it's come a long way because I know the station was built in 62, but one of the first town ambulances of 69 was. And so, and in fact, the first 2 EMTs in the state were Explorer Scouts from Cohasset in 1969. So before that, they would just throw you into the back of this converted hearse and run you to the hospital as fast as possible. So it seems like the service has come a long way since then. I have no more questions on this at this point.
Okay, Mr.
Just one
Brady has
more
another-
follow-up on my colleague. So that, what Dave just said, that fellow over in Jerusalem Road or that person on Jerusalem Road. So you guys are basically ad hocing it. You were just emergency service to keep that person stable until an ambulance could arrive?
Correct, but also our engines are licensed to carry ALS equipment. So they can start ALS treatment. So they can start IVs and administer medications if needed while we're waiting for the mutual aid ambulance to come in. But you're still waiting for that ambulance to arrive on scene and then transport the patient. You know, that's a long time. It's probably about a 20-minute ride for that Marshfield ambulance to make it to Cohasset, you know, especially with all the construction on 3A. You know, and it's gonna be, what's that, like a 2-year project? So even the ambulance coming from Situate on a 3A station is delayed because of all the construction on 3A. So, so those are the things, and then we're gonna have continued instruction on 3A as they do the Beechwood, intersection over too. So,
Thank you, chief.
Okay, thank you. So I just want, we do have upcoming events. This flyer has been distributed. We have a Touch a Truck event at the Beechwood Meeting House on Sunday, October 5th, 1 to 3. Kids seem to love that, no matter where it is. On Saturday, the 11th, there will be a behind the scenes tour at 62 Elm Street from 1 to 3. So anyone who has any concerns or interest in seeing exactly the conditions that Chief Ray talked about, that'll be on the 11th from 1 to 3, and on the 18th from 1 to 3 as well. There'll be 2 community forums on our public safety initiatives on Tuesday, the 14th, 135 King Street from 6:30 to 8. And another one on Wednesday, the 15th at the Beechwood Meeting House from 6:30 to 8 as well. And then a third one on the 22nd at the forgive me if I don't speak this correctly, Panagia Greek Orthodox Church, 811 Jerusalem Road from 6:30 to 8. So anyone who's interested in learning about these initiatives and these projects and how we got to where we are, I strongly encourage you to do the tour and come to a community session, which will be not a select board meeting, only if we have more than a quorum, but will be a give and take, a presentation and questions and answers for everyone who chooses to attend.
All 3 of those be architect attended to go over the plans, or is it just one? Like, which one is the public hearing one, or the?
We'll have the architect available via Zoom.
Okay.
During those community forums, if they're not available in person.
And the OPM? So the OPM will be there. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
if I can just piggyback.
Sure.
On your, say, October 11th is also our open house. So Lieutenant Dayton will be doing his SAFE program. So families are all welcome to come on the 11th, not just to see behind the scenes, but for hopping on the trucks and trying on gear and getting swag for fire prevention education.
Great.
Will it be decon? Since you don't have the space.
We're gonna clean it, okay? And the trucks will be outside.
Thanks.
All right.
That'll make it feel so much better.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coming.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is special town election. We need to set a date for the town election. Mr. Senior, November 15th, 2025.
What we're looking at. You'll have the final language for next meeting. So
Okay, so we're not voting on this tonight, so we're just putting it out there. Right now, the tentative date is the 15th.
Deer Hill would be the location. That's been confirmed.
Okay. Adopt the ballot questions for special town election depending upon town meeting. Well, we have to develop them as if certain things will happen at town meeting, right? Okay,
And more reflective on what's on.
okay. Okay, and but we can vote on approving the location at the Deer Hill Gymnasium. We can approve it without a date.
You could set a tentative date of November 15th.
Okay. Okay. So why don't we just get that out of the way? Can I have a motion to approve the location of Deer Hill School Gymnasium for the local election tentatively scheduled for November 15th, 2025?
So move.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, warrant review.
A lot of action this week.
Oh, thank you.
So, the advisory committee worked through a bunch of these last week, so, Article 1, the creation of a revolving fund for West Community Marketing is ready for review. Any questions of me?
Self-explanatory. So Advisory recommended this by a vote of 8-0. Does anyone have any questions?
The only question is, and it's for the edification of people at home, is if you could just explain the difference between a revolving fund and an enterprise fund and why you put this in a revolving fund versus wanting an enterprise.
So this is a revolving fund, like a lot of other programs, it's money comes in, it's back out in the same cycle for a finite period of time, so the money only runs for a season.
Mhm.
So money comes in, this allows it to stay in one particular place, doesn't get mixed in all the rest of the budget. So the fees for the market and the expenses will be covered, then it closes out at the end of the year. So unlike an enterprise fund, which allows for setting up reserve funds and you can carry money from year to year and you can borrow against that, you can't do it. Loan funds are, or just got accounting devices mostly for programmatic purposes. So schools use them for lunch, for example, cafeteria services. And the county uses them for recreation, or elder affairs, and a few other, purposes, like the library,
Library.
copying, for example, special funds. So in this case, because the town kind of jumped in later, staff ran it, this is a cover to cover it. If a community group, we really encourage community members who want to take part. Some other great volunteer opportunity, who want to work at the farmer's market. We'd love to have more community participation again in that, but this allow the town to do the accounting.
And this is a one-time vote because it's FY 26 and subsequent years.
You know, what happens is that this will be on the annual meeting as well, so this is.
The renewal, yeah.
Right, this creates
Yeah.
it, and every year town meeting goes just to reestablish.
Okay. All right. Any more questions from the board? No. Okay. So can I have a motion to approve Article 1, creation of revolving fund for Cohasset Community Market?
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The second article, which I'm happy to have to present to you a mixture of pay bills from last year. It came in for a variety of reasons. They're all need to be paid, they're all legitimate, all been vetted. They need to be put in front of town meeting for approval, because they keep coming in. We haven't had this happen in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Now that we have our new town accounting in place, we're putting in state procedures, so we don't flow this will not happen again. But some of these, sometimes it's just a random, for example, Medicare one. No one, they did their own little check and decided to be able to. And they didn't send us the bill to the fiscal years. So. Some of these others should have been, honestly, should have gone in advance.
But as you said, we don't really see these frequently at all. Okay. Is the board ready to vote? Advisory recommended approval of this article by a vote of 8-0. So can I have a motion to approve Article 2 on unpaid bills from previous years?
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Article 3, stabilization funds.
So there's only one in here, that's to, money into the Open trust fund, that's for medical benefits for future retirees. This includes both the 350,000, it's the standard contribution that the policy has the town making, and 90,000 deferred from the spring, just because of the concerns. So this brings us back in compliance with the existing.
That's a Cohasset funding
Yeah,
policy.
this is-
It's not a state funding
No, this is
policy.
adopted, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, this is totally, this is adopted by the committee, and then it's
Mhm.
board adopted the election.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions? No. Okay, so can I have a motion to approve Article 3, the stabilization fund, the transfer to OPEB trust fund?
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Article 4, capital improvements. I see advisory has not tackled this yet.
Captain just did it last night.
Okay,
I guess there's one more, is this the water project, which is still open? Did they vote on
That was
that?
voted. I will vote.
So the plan is for advisory to get this tomorrow night, if you want to wait till next week, that's fine.
okay.
I mean, if you have any questions on any of these, feel free to ask.
So pursuant to your previous comment about the difference between a revolving fund and an enterprise fund, here there are two projects, one coming out of water retained earnings and one coming out of sewer retained earnings to do maintenance and upgrades, correct?
Correct.
And so it doesn't it doesn't hit the tax levy at all. It comes out of their own.
Right, an enterprise fund.
Yeah.
The revenues from the service, whatever it may be, in this case, water and sewer, pay for the expenses. And often, in case of both water and sewer, they pay for bonding, because some of the projects are expensive and take a long time to pay. So,
Okay.
an enterprise fund allows you to borrow against a fund for capital projects and to build up reserves, kind of like general fund as well, to pay for future.
Okay. And then, out of the general capital fund, the DPW, the trench drains, C capital voted 5-0.
Yeah, that's, there's drains in the garage at DPW that are there to catch it and stuff that runs off of the maintained tracks. So it doesn't go into the groundwater.
Yep.
And an inspection showed that they're much more rotted out than they were, and they need to be, they've been there since the building was built. So that
Okay.
was 20 years ago. So, and because winter's coming, they want to get it done now,
Mhm.
because obviously they'll be
Right.
sold up. Kinds of things.
Right.
When I saw the capital budget meeting, they had looked to have to maybe split them and then they would have Brian go out and look. So I take it they voted for the full amount.
Full amount.
Yeah, they didn't break it. Okay, good.
And the other one is to swap. So the electric bus experiment has unfortunately not succeeded. And the schools still need that other bus. So this would just flip money that was pre-approved in the spring for electric bus that was not paid. Convert it to a lesser cost.
Right. And it has to be on the warrant because the appropriation was specific to electric bus versus diesel.
I spoke with council and they said if there was a deep emergency, we could do what we need to do. Town meeting coming, it just made sense to.
Okay, so we'll wait to, for advisory to weigh in,
Yeah.
on all of those. Article 5, the Joseph Osgood Elementary School roof. Advisory approved it by a vote of 9-0. So this is, the language is specific from MSBA regarding the wording. The bids came in at about 5.8 million and, we have.
Bids haven't come out. That's the.
Oh,
that's the max projected.
The max the max projected cost. And this is one of the uses of the school stabilization fund that we'll be able to use to fund the town portion of this because MSBA funds at 32.47% of the total cost. Do we want to vote on this as school? I thought we were going to add a school committee. Oh, it is. It's on. No,
I just said that.
no.
Capitals voted it and advisors voted. I don't know. I think it's. I don't know what's on there.
Okay.
But they've been supportive of this. They signed the application.
Yeah. All right, so can I have a motion to approve Article 5, the Joseph Osgood Elementary School roof project? I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Article 6, the Cohasset Public Safety Building, we will wait to hear from Advisory Capital. Article 7, creation of an enterprise fund for the recycling transfer facility. We will wait to hear from advisory to weigh in on this.
Yeah, they just wanted one more.
I'm sorry?
They just wanted to pick one more of the budget.
Okay. Article 8, amendments to fiscal 2026 operating budget. Advisory approved it 9-0. Is there anything, some of these are pretty standard annual transfers, like the transfer of PEG access funds to Cohasset 143 TV. Right, Chris, that happens.
That's every town meeting.
Yeah,
Somebody get from Verizon and Comcast to 143. And then we often pay for the band costs that, we took some of the money, we sometimes take money, it's usually after town meetings, so we don't have to find them. So in
right.
this case, we took a little more than we sometimes do, which is use the band interest costs are a little higher, plus interest rates are. And the others is kind of a mixed bag of things in here. Water is looking for transfers from their retained earnings for a couple of things. Supplement their budget with it and drawdowns because of projects that emergency projects they've done. That I don't want to be that low this early in the year, which makes sense, and they have the money. It's like that. It's like the town's stabilization fund, their version of 10 years. So it's like the version of free cash.
Yeah.
And the there's one alternative here, it's the number 9. And that only would be voted on if the RTF Senate Trust Fund is not passed, because the budget has to be made whole, so that make it whole by allocating the remaining, the money from the increased fund fees that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
it's not our budget, so.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have any questions about this? No, we can vote. Can I have a motion to approve Article 8 amendments to the fiscal 2026 operating budget?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And just for clarity's sake, when I say approve, it really means recommend to town meeting floor. Not approve. Okay.
One.
Yes.
Article 7. Last week, before we talked about adding a lot more information to that.
So we're planning to have a appendix for that
Oh.
page.
Perfect. And we don't have it yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to drill it down on one page.
Yeah.
And then we want to put, I'm working the show, but which you'll see for next week for sure, with the 3 pages.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
We're still going to reference the website, get more information here. Want to put more in detail.
More, yeah.
Yes.
Both of those are fairly.
Yeah.
Okay. Article 9, allocation of funds for one-time costs. Advisory approved this 9-0. Do you want to take us through it, Chris?
So there's 3 things. One is money for the classic, the consultant for the village historic district, which you just want to remember to. This will take them through the first 3 phases of their analysis and get them to the spring. It's a community, it's a meeting with the business district. It's a confirmation of the materials they have on all of the historic buildings and sketching out what a district like preliminarily, and then they have that meeting with the owners. Spring, and Woody Chittick, who's the chairman with me a couple weeks ago, they said that likely, depending on how this all goes, this winter and spring, they coming back in the spring, some additional funds to conclude, so that an article could eventually get in front of town meeting. That wouldn't happen until next fall or the following spring. So either the fall of 26 or the spring of 27. So it's not a fast process.
And there could be more requests for allocation.
Yeah, there was an estimate of 25.
25, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what they ask.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, can't use CPC because it's a study. CPC is going to fund actual preservation.
Right.
They can't fund studies of preservation. There's a fund we're going to, so we've talked about high school electric for Jake described. This is the actual funding for it because it was an unanticipated repair. And the electrical was critical to having keeping water out of that is actually critical. Excuse me, and as the Jake described, it was work that was not done properly 25 years ago. They found and they had to work through it. It's all done. It was
Because of the flood.
yeah, because of the flood, and
Yeah,
it turned out
yeah.
there's a pipe that never
Yeah.
been connected. And that big storm in July kind of triggered.
A lot, yeah.
So it's a little more than $96,000. We're gonna go to advisory for that, but it's just easier just to have it in town meeting. For cash. And then the clerk was seeking funding to upgrade the way that the clerk's office processes facilities permits, all facilities permits. Her office manages that, and this would allow her to have less bodies, which she believes speed the process and make it easier for residents to process. And I know she's planning to make a presentation through the list to talk about the annual fee would go, the maintenance fee for the software and access that would be genetic. And we'll take advice of some of the staff, so she's happy to use it. And then Michelle did raise on today, we have a meeting with the state on piping plovers.
Yeah.
Obviously they've appeared, they invested last year, they appeared and disappeared. So we have a meeting couple of weeks. And the chef recommended that I did was set aside money in case we need to pay for monitoring of some kind. I don't know. And I don't know what's.
It was a scramble last year with the Sandy Beach Association. They paid a portion of it. Of course, for the beach, but there's also fencing. It has to be done in the parking area, which is ours. So we're looking maybe to share the cost.
I would say in a little experience of dealing with piping plovers with the state beaches. I would say that one of the things is definitely we need to seal the cracks in the parking lot. Because if there's sand within the cracks, they can embed themselves there, and then you end up shutting off parts of the parking lot because they'll nest right in your parking lot wherever there's sand. So that needs to be talked to DPW. But the parking lot needs to be, the cracks need to be sealed, or it needs to be paved anyway. So I mean, it's just a maintenance issue. But that'll take that off the board for potential nesting and wherever it is, plan that they can figure out, but they move. I mean, they don't just stay stagnant in one place. And then it causes all sorts of havoc.
Some big complaints on us. Last year they had that, the nest was actually inundated. Still, even if no one's way out. So I think we need to sort of just talk about this today. So if you don't mind, I actually just.
Okay, okay.
Because I don't really include that if it's safer, even if it's not a lot of money, just to kind of. Be better safe than sorry.
Okay, Article 10, town parking regulations, that'll be forthcoming. We don't have any information on that
So
yet.
basically, it's repealing 244, plus just two sections. I'll go to advisory.
Okay.
Article 11, we discussed, that's the allowing the conversion of malt and wine licenses on premises to all alcohol, the rest of the license hold. Then they revert back. They can't be transferred. They revert back if it doesn't change ownership. And it's just an option of the state law. It doesn't require that. It allows us like to do it. If it wanted to.
Town meeting approval, so this would change our bylaw a little
No,
bit.
well,
you know, change the regulations.
Right, it would allow this like an option.
Yeah.
The state passed it, so in order to have it local, you have to do a local adoption.
Right.
Say, we're willing to do it, doesn't mean you have to do it, but if you don't adopt it.
Okay, and it doesn't change our total number of on-premise license. Okay. Did advisory,
You did it.
okay. Does the board feel prepared to vote on this?
Yes, I do.
Yes, okay. So can I have a motion to recommend Article 11, acceptance of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 12D, to allow on-premise wine and malt licenses to be traded in for an on-premise all alcoholic beverage license?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Article 12, acceptance of MGL, Chapter 83, Section 116A-16F school lien.
So the town has been adopted the comparable provision for water rates 25 years, 35 years. And the town has always handled sewer as a part of the water, the way the bills are proposed. And when we were going back, the council was going back looking, they couldn't find that the town's ever formally adopted the sewer lien provision. So the town's been functioning because most people don't get sewer. It's too, by using the water, the previously adopted against, so well, what attending, we should probably just adopt this just to be safe. So that's what it's kind of a housekeeping, but again, the town's been doing it for a long time, but there's not a lot of people that get it, but you want to get it.
Is it usual for someone to pay one portion of the bill and not the other? Like to pay water and not
No,
sewer?
no, so they
Okay.
usually, as I said, so we've been processing under the same provision of law.
Okay,
Again, if they, so Catholic council look and say, yeah, the section for sewer is technically a different section. Yeah, from the town, that piece. The
okay,
water was adopted by. So at that time. It may have. Council recommends just for, to suspend.
okay. All right, Advisory voted to recommend this by a vote of 9-0. Do I have a motion to approve Article 12, acceptance of MGL Chapter 83, Section 16A-16F for the sewer lien?
So moved.
May I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay, Article 13, lease of school property for siting of a solar power electric generation facility.
So I don't think it's particularly controversial. The school committee's still scheduled to hear this as of last week. They had. I know that the Dorchester Energy Committee's been in touch with them, but it hadn't actually reached them. So. Yeah, normally the sequence would be school and then advisory
And then us.
you. And again, there is a possibility this may not make the warrant, but I don't think this is an article that's that. That's.
It's really a reauthorization,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Effective,
Yeah.
yes, this was done more than a decade ago, and the window for these potential deals is limiting, is getting limited anyway, but the point of this was to allow that window, which I think was. And if something happened, it happened. If it didn't.
Okay, so we will wait for school committee and advisory. All right, Article 14, citizens petition for tuition-free full-day kindergarten. I believe we have a petitioner here. Would like to come up, please?
You're gonna,
Thank you. Just let me know when to.
oh, yeah, gotcha. Thanks a lot. Good evening, Bill Ashton, 125 Down Street. I am the proponent for this citizens petition. Tonight, I'm going to address both the reason for it and respond to some of the comments from advisory last week. 95% of schools in the state already have free full-day kindergarten. Full-day kindergarten is one of the strongest indicators of future academic success in the public and in a public school system should be provided tuition-free. Not only that, but Cohasset had free full-day kindergarten, and voters unanimously chose to support it from the town budget in 2023. Yet in 2025, the school committee voted 3-2 to take away free full-day kindergarten from the citizens. We've heard from both the school committee and the select board that this is a budget issue. So I analyzed our budgets and I'll present my conclusions. But this isn't just a budget issue, it's about democratic process and using our limited resources for what the citizens want. One of the comments from advisory centered around this presentation only being data without actual analysis. So let me be more explicit in my findings. The education budget of this town has been systematically underfunded to support the town manager, chief technology officer, and police. And also let me be explicit in why I think this is happening. Increases in these favored budgets can be offset in departments that have the ability to raise revenue, which we saw with the school fee increases of more than $500,000 this year, and the proposed RTF enterprise fund, where increased fees can be justified by forcing revenues to match expenses, which is a completely new theory for the operation of the RTF. This is on top of offloading capital costs for roads and school maintenance to stabilization funds. Let me be explicit in why I think this is a problem. The town is staring down numerous very expensive capital projects for facilities, including 135 King Street, 62 Elm Street, the water department, and the middle high school. Because these revenue levers we have at our disposal have already been pulled, our only option for those capital projects will be overrides and debt exclusions. Instead, we should be doing what Advisory Chair Gene Estino said and living within our means. Controlling our administrative budgets and only pulling on those additional revenue levers.
Be helpful.
Excuse me. I could do two things at once.
Maybe
It's one of those radical.
I'm sorry, you're out of order, okay? So please,
yeah.
please sit
This is out
down,
of order.
please sit down.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. You can go to the next one.
Wow. Really? Wow. Please.
I'm gonna have to ask you to leave if you can't be quiet, please.
Erica, and I'm not.
Mr. Senior, please, okay,
Sorry, Madam Chair.
please.
I'm just
Keep your-
asking that you show the respect to people that are coming to this meeting. And that means paying attention.
I'm sorry. Enough, okay? Mr. Ashton, please continue.
Sure. I'll start by addressing some of the concerns I've heard at advisory. First, Mr. Senior said, when you drill down, some of the numbers are things you pull off the internet, do a chat GPT search, but you have to do a deep dive and it's a challenge. To that end, I have not used chat GPT in my analysis or ever in my life. I've created a 13-tab Excel document that functions as a database to analyze this information. And while Excel is not the most premier way to analyze data, it's effective enough to draw conclusions. And I don't understand the criticism of pulling off the internet because every town's official budget is housed on the internet. I'm not sure where else Mr. Senior would recommend pulling that information from. Next, Mike Barclay said, benchmarking is data you need to analyze. If you don't scrutinize and analyze, you can tell any story you want. Don't get too caught up on benchmarking being some directional means of decision-making. I will say that benchmarking is not just data. Data is raw, unfiltered, not cleaned. Benchmarking requires clean data to be effective, and I've cleaned all this data. Also, benchmarking is a means of decision-making, and it ties in perfectly with historical trend analyses of town budgets. And if we think it can tell any story, I would challenge anyone to tell a different story with the same data. Both the changes over the last 5 years and the comparison of peer towns work together to paint the picture of what's happening. As Courtney Murphy from Advisory said in the context of last week's public safety comments, it's problematic that we think we cannot benchmark our town and its spending. For a technical note on the charts, you'll see each of these is organized with the peer towns in the same order to make the comparisons clear. And they're organized by spending per capita on the budgets analyzed here. The initial peer group was chosen based on demographics and socioeconomic factors, towns with similar populations, income levels, home prices, etc. After some community feedback, we added nearby towns, Norwell, Situate, Hanover, and Marshfield. Those nearby towns may not be as effective as benchmarks, but provide an idea of how our neighbors function and allay the concerns Mr. Senior had about comparing us to North Shore towns. Cohasset's in the top 10% of the state in spending per capita. And if you include only towns with a population of plus or minus 3,000, Cohasset is in the top 9%. So this is not a function of population. Towns ahead of us are mainly vacation towns with fewer permanent residents as a tax base, like Nantucket, Provincetown, Truro, Hagertown, and Wellfleet. You can see that even amongst our peer towns, we're nearly the highest in citizen funding, which includes property taxes and local receipts. Yeah, we're good on that. Next, we break this down into what makes up the spending proportionally among education, public safety, administration, and benefits. This is where you begin to see that we have significantly different spending profile from our peer towns. If you compare the blue bars at the bottom with the aggregate of the categories above them, you'll see that Cohasset underspending in education to the benefit of administration, public safety, and benefits. You go, oh, that's good, leave it there. To make this clear, we break the categories down further here. It's very evident on the right that we outspend every peer town in these 4 categories, both individually and in the aggregate. Meanwhile, on the left, we can see that we are in the middle to bottom of education spending, both per student and per capita, despite having some of the highest revenues in this peer group. You go, next one. Taking the first category, administrative spending, we see that Cohasset exceeds every peer town by 2 to 1, except Dover, where we merely exceed them by 40%. We move down to IT spending specifically, and we exceed every other town by 3 to 4 times. Mr. Senior said that if the CTO asks for cybersecurity money, how can he say no? But are we getting 3 to 4 times better cybersecurity than everyone else? Moving to the right, you can see that over the last 5 to 6 years, our administrative budget has increased about 50%. And where we started was already a pretty healthy budget compared to other towns. IT specifically has gone up more than 80%. If those budgets had aligned with our revenue growth, we'd be spending $330,000 less per year than we are now. Next, looking at public safety, 5 years ago, our police and fire had the same budget. But today, the police are $500,000 more than fire. This is a 40% increase in budget compared to 24% for town revenue growth and only 4% growth in population. In 2022, the police reported 19 FTEs, and I think there are 25 now. I say I think because I can't be sure because the town stopped publishing a budget book after 2022. Now, Mr. Senior last week brought up this per square mile metric and doubted its usefulness. I agree. When preparing this, I looked at a number of metrics. I was trying to find one that would disprove my theory. Maybe we needed more public safety budget because we have some large land area to cover. But that wasn't the case, so I just included it here to dispel the same thought I had. Ideally, public safety would be analyzed by a workload-based model. That'd be most accurate, but I don't have access to that data. Simple metrics like call volume do not accurately measure the actual workload of the force. Next, we've just begun to look into the background data on health insurance, and that's why I have this watermark across. You can see on the top right that we spend far more on health insurance than any peer town. And this board recommended increasing this budget another $800,000 2 weeks ago. Mr. Senior also questioned using per capita in this metric, but I find it useful because the only variation here could be FTEs per capita or health plan costs. And digging into our health plan costs revealed that we do spend more on specific health plans than Hingham, for instance, who gets their insurance through GIC. GIC has the same rates for every municipality, which compares to the MIIA plan we have now that sets rates individually by municipality. Next one. One of the other main concerns I've heard is that this is mid-year through the budget cycle, and it's tough to move budgets around. It can lead to overcompensation and mess up next year's budget, et cetera, et cetera. Yet we essentially changed every school family's budget 3 months before fees were due because of budgeting errors. We weren't concerned about families having to rebudget halfway through the year. But if it's too much to ask to fix these budgets back to where they should be, we're open to suggestions. Perhaps this year's comes from free cash the same way it did in 2023. But the point remains, there's more than $1 million in operating budget expansion that outgrew town revenues, and approximately the same amount that's being pushed into fees through the schools and the RTF. As Advisory Chair Gina Stino says, we need to sharpen our pencil and live within our means. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll get to the citizens' presents while we're here. So I will just read it out loud for the benefit of the audience to see if the town will vote to guarantee tuition-free full-day kindergarten to all residents beginning academic year 2025-2026, which is FY26 for academic year 26. This requires the appropriation of $300,000 from the town budget to cover the cost. The school budget will be re-baselined to include funding for full-day kindergarten. Thereafter, the school committee will be responsible for ensuring full-day kindergarten is tuition-free to all residents absent a town vote clearly delineating otherwise. Does anyone on the board have any questions relative to the petition itself? No, any comments from the audience?
Tricia Gillis. I paid $3,000 for my child to go to kindergarten. It has everybody else. And it didn't, no one blinked an eye. We're clearly in a, but we have some budget problems here. I know that you tried to get rid of the SRO officers. Well, I happened to have a child in kindergarten in Sandy Hook on December 14th, 2012. This happened, and we all of a sudden decided we had to have SRO officers. I was talking to experts, security experts, and school administration back in 2012, 2013. It was determined that the most vulnerable children, the children at Osgood and the children at Deer Hill, the children at the high school, some of them, the athletes and some of the others, they could be proactive in helping the schools, deterring a school shooter. Children at the Osgood and the Deer Hill, those teachers and those administrators are in the process of trying to secure and safely put your children in hiding spots. They're protecting them. They can't do anything else to protect the children. The SRO officers need to stay in the budget. I don't, what about all the rest of us who paid the kindergarten fee? This is crazy. I mean, and this is a problem for some people, homeschool your child from kindergarten. And you won't have to pay bus fees in the 6th grade. This is crazy. this is where we have a budget deficit, have the 2 years, it was a miscalculation, or whatever happened up at the school department. The school department has said no, so this is where we're at. The safety of the children come first.
Please wait to be called on, okay? You had your hand up first, yes. Name and address again, please.
My name again is Jennifer Chu. I'm at 25 Virginia Lane.
Thank you.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank Christina for putting this phone out and listening to all of us. And, ma'am, I would say that I totally agree with you. I have a child at Deerfield, and school resource officers are critical and absolutely should be in the schools. And they also build a strong sense of community with kids, and it's incredibly valuable. Will has brought a lot of budget questions to the forefront that would not impact the school resource officer in any way, shape, or form. Ways that we absolutely sharpen our pencils, we should be sharpening our pencils, just like communities around us are doing. So I think that we can do what the rest of the state does. Like, and I was stated that again, I'm not getting more. So that being said, I think that we should be in line with the rest of the state to do that. And let's look at making sure that we're not spending excessively on the administrative costs and healthcare costs, and that we're not spending excessively on buildings instead.
Okay.
Yes. Building. So much work. There's nothing new. We need new schools at some point. So putting money into the buildings, we need to.
We do, but we don't need to overpay.
It's gonna be.
Yeah,
directed
yeah,
to the chair.
okay. You ladies can have a conversation outside if you'd like afterwards. Okay, we need to stay focused on this article.
Support the fact that the community has voted for this overwhelmingly, and that with that in mind, it should be put back into the budget, and there should be other ways.
So a point of clarification, that was a one-time, you go through all the warrants, there are, shake your head, I'm just going to explain to you exactly how the article read. It was a one-time cost for kindergarten tuition because the schools indicated that due to a full enrollment and full day, they would get additional Chapter 70 money. So the town stepped in and said, we can help you in this bridge year. So it was a one-time allocation from the town, and that's how the article read. Sir, name and address again, please.
Nick Francona at 55 Redgate, and it's just in response to your, I would agree with your assessment that we obviously have some budget issues here, some hard decisions to make. I think it appears to be the norm for towns to provide the kindergarten as a service. If we are so incompetent in this town that we cannot do that, then maybe we need to face that reality. That being said, I think Will provided some interesting items that we should at least look into as to where we appear to be outliers in a really bad way in this town. In terms of where we are spending, and there might be a plausible reason for that. I'm sure as hell hope that there'll be a lot more transparency and people will be a little more forthcoming with that, because if I was on the select board and those numbers came up, that guy wouldn't be working here much longer, because that is embarrassing, and you guys gotta get control of this, because that is, I don't know, that's shameful. It is absolutely shameful.
Okay.
You're gonna, I'm telling you right now, there is an undercurrent of outrage in this town right now. This is the tip of the iceberg because of how incompetent this is. The questioning tonight, nobody wants a firefighter to get cancer. Nobody is voting in favor of cancer. I'm speaking, ma'am.
No.
And I'm the chair of the meeting, and you're responding to, we're talking about the article for the citizens petition. So we're not going to get into other projects and other conversation.
The rules,
You haven't,
the procedures that you use, the open meeting laws are designed to facilitate good governance. You use them to inhibit and
Let-
roll your eyes, ma'am. You got, okay, fine, fine. Go.
No, I just wanted to articulate that
You're
these are,
making it clear to everybody in this town that the way that if we need good governance, that you are personally standing in the way of it and you have to go. That much is clear right now. So thank you, I appreciate it.
sir,
That's it, I'm done.
what I was going to say is select board meetings are not public meetings, they're meetings held in public. And it is the purview of the chair, okay, to keep the conversation on topic. And you had an opportunity to talk about the fire department when Chief Dockery was here. I asked if there were any comments. So this is not so now you're laughing and rolling
I'm
your eyes
laughing
at
at you
me.
because this is a joke how bad you are at this.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the citizens
Yeah.
petition. Does anyone on the board have any comments about this?
I have a question. I'm wondering if the group has gone to it for the school committee and what happened there.
Yeah, we did go to advisory, not school yet. They had a number of comments. I think we have to go back next week for a vote, though.
What were the comments?
All the ones that I addressed and what I brought up today.
Okay. And then school committee you have met with Chair Lesky and
I've-
Superintendent.
I've spoken with two of them, yes.
Yeah, and what came of that?
Not much.
You don't want to share.
What I talked about with them?
Yeah,
Or, oh.
and what their feeling was about this.
Their feeling was that free kindergarten is admirable, but they wanted to phase it in over 5 years or something. Those are their suggestions. So I told them I didn't agree, so that's why we did this.
I think I wasn't at the meeting, but I looked at the slides of the previous school committee meeting and they shared a table of all the other towns that charge for kindergarten,
Mhm.
including Duxbury and Hingham.
Duxbury doesn't anymore. They removed
Okay.
it, yeah.
But I've just noticed that the discussion never talks about, you guys don't, all the other towns that do charge for the afternoon.
Yeah, there are 15 out of 330 in the state that charge for it, 5%.
Okay.
Are we talking about full day kindergarten?
Yeah.
Because half day kindergarten is still free if I'm not.
That's a state law. It has to be free, yes.
You know that, that's what I'm saying. Are you combining all the towns? These are the towns that you said pay full day free kindergarten?
95% of the towns
In that-
in Massachusetts have free full day kindergarten, yes.
I was wrong. I think. Yeah. School committee, it said nothing to you?
No, I haven't been to a school committee meeting or invited to one yet, so.
I did.
Welcome to
You're
go
welcome to go.
anytime. This is squarely a school committee issue. I would encourage you to go to the school committee. It was the school committee that voted.
I mean, this young lady just
To
smirking
change
and
it.
smiling back there because I don't know why, but no, let me finish, please. Please feel free. So be honest with you, petition, I mean, I'm more comfortable seeing with the school committee. They're the ones that took this away.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
instituted it and took it away.
Yeah, and
I'd personally like to see what they have to say about it.
I think that it's,
Before I would even make a recommendation, I'll be quite frank with you, to forward it on. I'd like to see what the school committee, because.
sure.
You know, that's where the, all lies, because I don't personally think that we even know you, Mr. Ashton, if it wasn't for the free kindergarten. You've done an admirable bit of work, I have to say that.
Put a lot of work.
Quite
in.
a lot, quite a
Yeah.
lot, and I applaud you for it. But it wasn't free kindergarten, so I sometimes question your motivations. I'll be honest with you, because that's where you came from was initial. So forgive me if I'm wrong. I'll accept that.
Yeah, like I presented today, I think a systematic underfunding.
Now let's hear, do you mind if I just take a word from the lady?
So I can't
Are
respond.
you kidding me right now with that? You just said.
Excuse me, you're out of order, sir.
Yeah.
You're out of order.
Sir.
Please stop.
Please.
I'm Sandra Dragon Archambault, so that's my married name. I feel like we're not sitting in the same room and here for the same conversation. Kindergarten being defunded back at the end of March was just the snowball coming down the mountain.
Okay? So my mother always raised me. She always said, if you stand for nothing, then you'll take anything, right? So if you don't take a stance at that moment, then what else is gonna happen? Oops, we forgot to budget for kindergarten. Oops, we have a $28 million public security building going up. Oops, we have to do another override. We came together as citizens here because we all have a vested interest in supporting and growing a community that we can all see ourselves being a part of, that we can all afford to be here, whether it's 5-year-olds, whether it's, 30% of our community is under 18, 30% are seniors. We want our home values, we want our kids educated, we want our seniors to age in place. All of this can happen. We just saw that we are a wealthy, rich community. We have citizens who are coming forward with expertise and want to be engaged. We're all on the same page here. It's not an us versus them thing. We're looking where we can find this money to make everybody nourished, to give everybody what they need to survive. And I don't see how the tenor of tonight's meeting and the meetings leading up to this, why they have been the way that they are. I've been to school committee meetings. I was with Will when we met with Chair Leslie, when we met with the superintendent, and it was clear at that time that there are agendas that are happening behind closed doors, and we're meant to just stamp and approve and pass it along. If that's what the school committee does, no. Is that what the select board does? Is that what the advisory committee does? Is that what the capital planning committee does? Because I see a lot of motions getting passed or, funding being allocated. But what are we getting for it? We were sold a package at the 2023 meeting that bundled in the public security building. Am I wrong? Was that override in the springtime? And so we had different elements on the agenda that night to pull forth parents of young children who will, come. We want to afford kindergarten for our kids. We want the town to pick up that budget because we can't. We're too poor. We can't afford it. Is that what you think? Is that how you're characterizing the young people in your town? Is that what this has come to? It's shameful. When I got that phone call that night, I felt like a girlfriend of mine was watching the meeting and felt like somebody while I was eating dinner stuck their hands in my pocket and took $3,000 out. If you can't manage your town budget, what kind of leadership is that for families who are struggling to plan for our own family budgets? Okay. I'm not gonna all of a sudden fund my kids, Roblox addiction or whatnot in IT when I can't afford math tutoring. It doesn't compute.
Mr. Dragon, that's what I was trying to say. I didn't want to hear what the school committee had.
You did disrespect me by calling me a young lady.
And I take that, I apologize.
I'm middle aged.
I apologize for that. All right, that was not intended. And, but so I do want to hear what this committee has to say about it.
So do I.
Okay, Ms. Dugan?
I just wanted to comment that the school budget is the purview of the school committee. They have 100% control over the expenses. And so, in my belief, and having listened to the last couple of school committee meetings, they are still trying to balance. Fortunately, there is $100,000 plus deficit in the transportation quality account. There are deficits that are ongoing in the athletics revolving. They under budgeted utilities. And so there are deficits that are existing in fiscal 26 in the school budget that are trying to be rectified. And we're having a conversation about adding another $300,000. And I am just wondering
why this is not an issue that the schools are trying to wrestle with instead of the select board and advisory. At this point, I am frustrated that we don't have a school budget that is balanced and that the school committee is taking ownership for that.
May I just respond to all those and your comments as well about the school committee? The, so why not go to the school committee? The school committee is not accountable to anyone. The only way to get any accountability is through the town meeting, through the select board, number one. Number two, what I think I've shown in this analysis is a systematic underfunding of the schools to the benefit of these other budget areas. And that's why I'm proposing this the way that it's written. So that's trying to answer what you guys asked.
So, Mr. Ashton, and I don't want to get too off track, the petition itself. And as I had indicated in the budget message, that we will be doing a more comprehensive, you have written to us several times and sent us your information, and because of open meeting law, you know, we cannot respond. So this is our first opportunity as a board to sit here with you and have this conversation in public, because we can't do it otherwise as a board. And there isn't any one of us that has any authority as an individual, we have it as a board. So that being said, what you've come forth with is interesting. And I would welcome the opportunity to sit down with you as a board. As mentioned, we're going to go back through, and I'll just give you, because I've done some of my own analysis, I just want to kind of give you a little flavor of some things. Is your comment on the increase in the police department budget? I'm not sure if you're aware that the town of Cohasset participates with Hingham Hall in Norwell with Shrek. And that has started at $355,000 and has grown to $490,000 for this year. And the payroll line for police and fire are pretty identical. The expense line for police and fire are off a couple of, $10,000 or $20,000, one from the other, depending upon the given year. And it's overtime, with police running slightly higher than the fire department on overtime. So I think it's important to note that the 40% is a result of a service that we subscribe to as a town to join Shrek. And if you take it out, the budgets are a little bit more equalized. Do you accept that?
Yeah, but 5 years ago, they were the same, even with that included, and there were 6 fewer FTEs 5 years ago. So I don't buy that 100%, but I'd be interested to see what you have.
Okay. And the SRO is funded out of the town side of the budget, not the school side.
Yes.
And health insurance benefits are funded out of the town side of the budget, not the school side. Okay. And a lot of your peer districts are regional school districts, 6 through 12.
The local, the North Shore ones, the local ones, the only ones that I included on that graph are all town school districts, and all of their health insurance is on the one line for the town, for both the school and the town employees.
Okay, so why don't we regroup? We can touch base and talk about this further as we look deeper into our budget. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I can understand parents angry because back watching the school committee meetings, and I think it was in the spring that they had the night where they voted all the fees in one. And that was the night that I think I might have counted wrong, but I think there was 76 plus questions that night. I ran out of ink trying to cover them. But that was the meeting where everything happened, and people, I think, were first alerted to it, even though there was other previous meetings and there was budget problems going back through January. So I can understand how parents, if they were budgeting for the year in January, thinking that full day kindergarten was going to be covered, and then find out 3 months later that it's not. Was. But some of the issues that there were, and we had it with the joint meeting with the school committee, and if I'm wrong on any, please let me know. But there's a number of costs. A lot of the cost centers in the school went up. You had special education, you had utilities, you had, I think, there was also raises that were given by the previous superintendent, not the superintendent, before he walked out the door, which were not covered in the budget. There was the circuit breaker funding, which was supposed to be for 2 years, which was spent in one, so therefore that was short. And I'm sure there was a whole host of other things, but that's what's just at the top of my mind. So there was a whole cacophony of things that came together which created that deficit. But at the time, the select board, in seeing that, we moved over 800, close to $850,000 in order to plug that gap for the schools so that they wouldn't be not only pink slipping teachers in the middle of the year, but firing them at the end. And, you know, we stood up for that. And the same thing during the year when there was a school shooting in the winter, we added the SRO officer to the Osgood and the Deer Hill to make sure that not just one campus had an SRO officer, but both did, so that all the children who went to school in Cohasset would be safe. And that's the measures that we took during that time. Now, with all the statistics that you have, I don't know if I want to go through all of them, but I mean, there's certainly some things to talk about regarding, you know, benchmarking. The town has done benchmarking. 2023, they did it with a financial committee that was made up of advisory capital, and I think the select board and
And the school
and
committee.
the school committee, and they did benchmark a number of different towns and looked at FTEs and things like that. And so we were, you know, within the range of that. So I would take some umbrage with some of the statistics, and I would say that it is hard to benchmark in some ways, because if you look at towns that are, for instance, inland, and are not on the water like Cohasset, we have a harbor master, we have assistant harbor master, we've got equipment, we've got boats in both police and fire. You know, they don't have that in Dover or Sherborne or Georgetown, places, because they're not on the water. And then we have a lot of inland waterways, some of the inland towns do. So there's all sorts of different costs that come into a town budget, and not all the town budgets in the different towns put them together the same way, minus, of course, you know, schools on one side, town on the other. But then with the way that they do departments, so it can be hard to measure apples to apples on some. So I do realize that. But with that being said, I think if you know, the school committee, you know, you said that they're not accountable, they are accountable. I mean, you need to go to their meetings, and they're elected officials like everybody else. So I mean, that's the accountability, is go to their meetings, having the parents know this is what we want, and go to the school committee meetings. Coming here as well, that's fine. But the school committee has the province over their budget. We can advocate for things, but we can't vote on their school budget internally. And even when they have their school budget, they can move things in between lines of it. So even though things are budgeted for that, they can be moved in between as well. So that needs to be visible. But I would say, parents of town want the kindergarten to be paid for. And by the way, there is also a program that I know the school committee has, if people do have trouble paying the kindergarten, that they do have a scholarship program for that, which is, you know, which they have. So if anybody does have that problem, I know there's a number of people who were looking to have it and didn't know that they were going to be paying it. If they have multiple, it's going to be a burden for sure. So anyway, with all that being said, I think, you know, more needs to be looked at with this going down the line with the school committee, but I haven't heard from them at this point. So, but I'll take it under advisement at this point.
Thank you. Mr. Grady has one more. Oh, Ms. Chu?
Thank you. What did you say my name again?
No, that's fine.
My question is, who determines the school budget? Is that this board? And I don't know the answer.
Yes, the whole number, not
Not how it's spent.
how it's spent, but it's the whole number.
Okay. And what we're seeing is, fortunately, we're spending less than everybody else on our plates.
So 61% of the town's
Yeah,
budget. So
yeah.
61% of the town's budget goes towards the schools, and 39 pays for everybody else in the rest of the town. 61% of the schools, 39, the rest of the town, it's just based on revenue.
Unfortunately, we're spending less than all of our neighboring towns per child.
Well, what I'd like to look at with Mr. Ashton is the calculation of that, because there are a lot of costs that are not in the school budget that are school related, such as facilities, such as health insurance. It's on the town side, and the town expenditures pays for health insurance for all of our faculty and staff in
All the
Cohasset Public
schools on the
Schools.
South Shore do that. It's no different.
Okay, but if we
Same with
added,
facilities.
Oh, you're open to the conversation. My question was only
okay,
who allocates the school budget.
Okay.
What I'm hearing is it's you guys. And so if the school is, schools are trapped the budget, regardless of whatever percentage of the budget it is, then it sounds like this is still a good place to be, because you guys are ultimately responsible for figuring out where the money's going.
so there is a process. The town manager, the chair of the select board, the chair of the school committee, and the superintendent meet quarterly, and especially getting into budget season, meet much more frequently. And there's a lot of conversation that goes on prior to the budget allocation about what the needs are, what the town needs are, where we can move, where we cannot move, what can we do to support? Is it, in the past, we've funded curriculum, the town has funded curriculum on a one-time cash basis, which would save $100,000, which would save a teacher. So there's a lot of collaboration on the budget before the final number is determined.
Public meetings?
When the four of us meet, no, they're not posted because we're not a quorum and we're not an official public body. But they're discussed when we come back to board, when we come back to the board. Okay, so, thank you, Mr. Ashton, for your petition and
Yep.
for your information. We will we're all watching advisory next week. And
Okay.
we'll make our determination next Tuesday, when everything has to be voted on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
I understand. If you said you got a phone call at night and that they pulled kindergarten from you. I wouldn't want that phone call either. No, I was acknowledging. that.
I did.
I would not want
I
that.
don't have a kindergartner.
But it would be interesting. You put together a heck of a sheet. It would be interesting to sit down and really flesh out. Where that. But I do think the school is, once the money's allocated, we just don't have a say in it. And that's something I think that. And so I would agree with that. Parent would not want that call. So I hope, thank you for saying you'll sit down.
Absolutely.
Great, thank you. Okay, so on to the town manager update. Oh, I'm sorry, did you have a quick comment? Are you sure? Town manager update,
Because we're meeting every week, I have nothing further.
okay. Select board comments? Ms. Rollins, Mr. Grady,
No, I have no comments on it.
Mr. Parag?
I just had one briefly, and that is, I want to bring up one of the town departments. Oh, hello. I just want to bring up one of the town departments. And the reason is that when we talk about budgets, we always talk about expenditures, but we don't talk about the value that we get out of them and sort of what they do. So we end up sort of getting a one-dimensional look at things when we talk about, what we want to have. So I want to talk about the planning department. And especially, there's two individuals there. And over the last, since 2022, in the planning department, they've pulled in over $1.295 million in grants to the town of Cohasset. They've applied for approximately 19. They received 11, which were awarded, 2 which we're waiting to hear, and 6 that we did not get. And as a part of that, when they apply for these, you can look at it and say, well, how much should we get or how much should not we get from these grants? And the thing is that with the grants that they apply for, because there are a lot of different state grants, they're able to get the ones that strategically fit into what the town is trying to do. So a lot of these grants deal with resiliency, infrastructure, ADA. There was a couple that dealt with the bylaws when we were going over the bylaws. And both of those were very important because one of them was to make sure we were in compliance with the Mass Communities Act. And by doing that, we were able to be available for other state grants. Towns that did not take this approach have now found out that they are shut off from state grants fully. So that particular grant, which was only about $20,000 to get the consultant to help out, was greatly helpful in saving the town millions of dollars in future grants. And in addition, one of the other grants was getting $196,000 for the Osgood and Deer Hill that deals with energy conservation, which is going to be something which is going to be important, as you saw with one of the articles. reauthorizing the potential for solar on some of the schools that which can hopefully in the future help save a lot of money regarding utility costs. So I just bring that up because both Cassandra and Julie who work there, we've had other people in the past who've worked there, and I remember when we first were looking at getting a town planner, it was over 20 years ago, and it was just to get an assistant town planner. We were hoping to share it with just Hull. And it was controversial at the time because people said, well, why do we need a town planner? What are they for? Things like that. And now we have a full fledged department that's able to bring in this amount of money way beyond what their salaries are. And of course, this is on the side from what they normally do, which is their statutory due diligence in dealing with the planning board and making sure things are posted and that all the plans go through and such. So I just want to bring that up to people because I don't think people know some of the particular departments and what they do and the public value added that they bring. And especially from coming on the Concom where we dealt with, while we were called the Conservation Commission, we really should have been called the Drainage Committee in town. Listening to drainage and dealing with drainage all the time. Going in the future as their work with the Harbor Committee in trying to build resiliency for not only the town harbor, but the residents that live around there and the town infrastructure as a whole from potential flooding that could come down in the village and also our sewer plant and other town infrastructure. So with that being said, I just want to let people know on that particular end of what one particular department does, which it isn't shown in the regular town budget, but that's the story behind the story on them. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I have no comments. So I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of 9:23. They were in our packet. Does anyone have any comments or edits? No. So Mr. Plex, you were not at that meeting. So you can abstain. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes of September 23rd? Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. There's no topics not reasonably anticipated. So now I'd like a motion to move into executive session number 2, strategy in preparation for negotiations to conduct collective bargaining session, contract negotiations with non-union personnel, the town manager. We will adjourn public meeting in executive session, so we will not be returning to public meeting. I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.